Welcome everybody to the show that's less about tanks and more about think tanks. We're about to dive deep into Africa's top 10 military powers for 2025. Now you might be thinking, Haley, why 2025? Why not 2024? Why not 2026? And to that I say, look, 2023 is almost over and 2026 is just too far away. Who even knows if we'll have militaries by then? Maybe we'll all be fighting over the last scraps of food after the climate apocalypse. But hey, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're basing our list on the Global Firepower Network rankings, which take into account factors like military size, equipment, and resources. And let me tell you, some of these countries might surprise you. We've got nations facing internal conflicts still packing some serious heat, and others you wouldn't expect climbing the ranks faster than a cheetah on a caffeine rush. So, buckle up, grab your metaphorical binoculars, and try not to spill your popcorn as we count down from number 10 to the most powerful military force on the African continent. Let's do this thing. Kicking off our list at number 10 is Libya. Now Libya's been through a lot, I mean who hasn't these days, right? But seriously, they've faced more than their fair share of internal conflict. It's like that friend who just can't seem to get their life together, but then you find out they've got a black belt in karate and a basement full of fireworks. You know what I mean? Despite the ongoing struggles, Libya still maintains a military of around 30,000 personnel. They've got ground forces, an air force trying to keep those planes in the air, and even a navy which, let's be honest, is more than most of us can say. Plus, Libya's sitting on a whole lot of oil, and we all know that oil money can buy a lot of, shall we say, persuasion tools. So, while Libya might not be at the top of the military power rankings, they're definitely not a force to be underestimated. They're a reminder that sometimes, even in the midst of chaos, you can still find a way to hold on to your firepower. Coming in at number 9 is Sudan. Now Sudan's another one of those countries that's been through the ringer, politically speaking. It's like they took a political science textbook, threw it in a blender with some sand, and said, let's see what happens. But even with the ongoing civil war and political crisis, Sudan still manages to maintain a military of around 90,000 personnel. That's a lot of boots on the ground, even if those boots are probably filled with sand half the time. They've got ground forces, an air force that's seen better days but can still pack a punch, and a navy that's more about patrolling the Nile than taking on any international armadas. The point is, Sudan's military might not be the shiniest tool in the shed, but it's a tool nonetheless. And when you're in a tough neighborhood, sometimes just having a tool, any tool, can make all the difference. Coming in at number 8 is the Democratic Republic of Congo, or DRC for those of us who don't have time for all those syllables. Now the DRC is like that friend who shows up to the party late, looking a little rough around the edges, but then proceeds to dominate the dance floor. You see, the DRC is a country with a troubled past, but it's also a country with massive potential. And lately, they've been making some serious moves to beef up their military, which with 160,000 personnel, is one of the largest in Africa. They've got help from international partners, who are eager to tap into the DRC's vast mineral resources. We're talking diamonds, gold, coltan, the stuff that makes your smartphone work. So, while the DRC might not be a military superpower just yet, they're definitely a force to be reckoned with. They're like a sleeping giant that's finally starting to wake up, and when they do, watch out, world. Coming in at number 7 is Morocco, a country that's basically the cool kid on the block everyone wants to be friends with. They've got stunning beaches, delicious food, and a military that's nothing to sneeze at. Morocco's got a laser focus on border security, especially with the whole Western Sahara situation. They're not taking any chances, investing heavily in their military, which boasts a respectable 200,000 personnel. And they're not just about quantity, they're about quality too, with a modernizing military that includes a capable air force and a growing navy. But here's the thing about Morocco, they're not just about flexing their military muscle. They're also a key player in counterterrorism efforts in the region, and have been working hard to build a strong economy. It's like they're saying, hey, we can be tough when we need to be, but we'd rather just chill on the beach with a good tagine. And honestly, who can blame them? Sliding into the number 6 spot is Angola, a country that's no stranger to conflict. After a long and brutal civil war, they've been working hard to rebuild and re-establish themselves on the world stage. And part of that comeback story involves a pretty serious military. Angola's got oil, and lots of it. and they've been using that oil money to fund a military that's 110,000 personnel strong. They've got a decent air force, a navy that's getting bigger and better, and ground forces with experience from years of internal conflict. Now some might say that Angola is still finding its footing, still figuring out its place in the world. But one thing's for sure, they've got the firepower to back up their ambitions. So, keep an eye on Angola, folks. They might have been down for a while, but they're back on their feet and ready to show the world what they're capable of. And with a military like that, who knows what the future holds. Holding strong at number 5 is Ethiopia. Now, Ethiopia is like that friend who's always hustling, always got a side gig going on. They're building their economy, investing in infrastructure, and oh yeah, building up a pretty formidable military while they're at it. Ethiopia's military is 160,000 personnel strong, and they're not afraid to use it. They've been involved in regional conflicts and peacekeeping missions, and they've been investing heavily in modernizing their weaponry. But, here's the thing about Ethiopia. They're not just buying their weapons off the shelf, they're making their own. That's right, Ethiopia's been working hard to develop its own domestic arms industry, which is pretty impressive if you ask me. Add to that their strategic location in the Horn of Africa and their growing military cooperation with other countries, and you've got a country that's definitely punching above its weight. Coming in at number 4 is South Africa, a country that knows a thing or two about overcoming adversity. They fought their way out of apartheid and emerged as a beacon of hope and democracy. But let's not forget, the Rainbow Nation also packs a serious military punch. South Africa boasts the most advanced military on the continent, with a sophisticated domestic defense industry that designs and manufactures everything from armored vehicles to attack helicopters. They've got a relatively small but highly trained military of 70,000 personnel, and they're not afraid to use it to protect their interests, both at home and abroad. But here's the thing about South Africa. They're not just about brute force. They're also a major player in peacekeeping operations across the continent. It's like they're saying, look, we've been through a lot, we know what it takes to rebuild, and we're here to help. And with a military like that, they've definitely got the muscle to back it up. Holding steady at number 3 is Nigeria, the giant of West Africa. Now Nigeria's got it all, a massive population, a booming economy, well, booming might be a bit of a stretch, but you get the idea, and a military that's as large and diverse as the country itself. With a staggering 230,000 personnel, Nigeria boasts the largest military force in sub-Saharan Africa, and they need it too, because they've been on the front lines of the fight against Boko Haram and other insurgent groups in the region. They've got ground forces battling it out in the northeast, an air force trying to keep those pesky insurgents in check, and a navy patrolling the Gulf of Guinea, which, let me tell you, is a hotbed of piracy and other shady business. But here's the thing, Nigeria's military might be big, but it's also got its fair share of problems. Corruption, lack of equipment, and low morale are just some of the challenges they face, but hey, nobody said being a military power was easy, right? Coming in at number 2 is Algeria, a country that's about as subtle as a sandstorm in the Sahara. They've got a massive landmass, a whole lot of oil, and a military that's quietly become one of the most powerful in Africa. Algeria's been on a bit of a spending spree lately, pouring money into their military like it's going out of style. They've been snapping up modern weaponry from Russia, China, and just about anyone else willing to sell, and it shows. With 325,000 personnel, Algeria boasts the largest standing army in Africa. They've also got a respectable air force and a navy that's getting bigger and more capable by the day. But here's the thing about Algeria. They're not one for grandstanding. They play their cards close to their chest, quietly building up their military might without making a big fuss about it. It's like they're saying, we're here, we're strong, and we're just going to let our actions speak for themselves. And finally, the moment you've all been waiting for, the number 1 spot goes to, drumroll, Egypt. Now, was there ever any doubt? Egypt's been a major military power for centuries, and they're not about to let that title go anytime soon. With a staggering 440,000 active-duty personnel, Egypt boasts the largest military force in Africa and one of the largest in the world. They've fought their fair share of wars, they know what they're doing, and they've got the hardware to back it up. We're talking tanks, fighter jets, warships, you name it, they've got it. Plus, they receive billions of dollars in military aid from the United States every year so they can afford to keep their military stocked with all the latest and greatest toys. But here's the thing about Egypt. They're not just about military might. They're also a major player in regional politics, trying to broker peace deals and keep things from boiling over in a very volatile part of the world. It's like they're saying, look, we've got the biggest stick in the neighborhood, but we'd rather use it to keep the peace than to start a fight. And there you have it, folks. Africa's top 10 military powers for 2025. From Libya to Egypt, these nations are flexing their muscles, modernizing their forces, and making sure their voices are heard on the global stage. It's a complex and ever-changing landscape, but one thing's for sure, Africa is done being seen as just a source of resources or a place of conflict. These nations are writing their own stories, and they're doing it with a whole lot of firepower. But remember, military might is just one piece of the puzzle. True strength comes from investing in education, healthcare, and economic development. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how many tanks you have, it's about creating a brighter future for your people. So, stay curious, stay informed, and let's keep talking about Africa. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments which country surprised you the most. Until next time.